see the title, you see the thumbnail, so let's get right into it. Now, hold up. Before we begin, do you have a holster? Does your holster look like this? Do you need a better holster? Then yes, you need better holsters. Look in the link in the description below whenever you come into the market for a gun holster. That will help out the channel greatly. So let's get right into the video. Now, as you may know, I wasn't really interested in voting this year. However, through much thought and some research, reflection, and as a deadline approached, it wasn't until the morning of the election that I did vote. So let's get that out of the way. Yes, CitizenEdge did vote. I'm going to talk about what I chose, what propositions I voted on, how I voted. It's all about transparency, people. As you know, there's some things people in life will just not admit to. They will not reveal their taxes. They will not reveal who they voted on or what propositions they support. But before Biden succeeds or falls flat on his face, him and Kamala, I'm going to reveal where I came from. I didn't vote on the campaign or what promises may have or were not said. I go on body of work and what they stood for the 47 years or some odd years that they've been in office already. They had the opportunity to make an impact, and we'll see what impacts they made. First, I'm gonna start with the propositions. In California, if you don't know already, I'm in Sacramento County in the state of California, and we're gonna discuss what was on the ballot. I'm going to talk about propositions 14, 16, 17. I have my notes here. 18, 20, 21, 23, 24, and 25. So let's get started. Comment down below. Let me know if you want me to do a reaction on the Biden-Kamala Harris speech, okay? Or I don't know if you know how serious this is. Like I said, people don't reveal who they vote for, but it's all about transparency. It's all about truth here on this channel. So let's get right into it. Let me take my glasses off, people. I'm not blind, just nearsighted, all right? All right, Proposition 14 authorizes bonds continuing stem cell research initiative statute. Let me elaborate here. Reading off straight off the ballot, people. Authorizes $5.5 billion state bonds for stem cell and other medical research, including training, research facility construction, administrative costs. Let me see here. Dedicates $1.5 billion to brain-related diseases, appropriates general fund monies for repayment, expands related programs' fiscal impact. Increased state costs to repay bonds estimated at about $260 million per year over the next roughly 30 years. So once again, stem cell research. No, that's what I put, no. So when I think of research, I think of little black boys and girls. I think of vaccines. I think of all types of guinea pig weird crap that can go on in the inner cities. And I voted no, okay? People trying to play God, that's just not me, okay? Proposition 16, affirmative action, allows diversity as a factor in public employment, education, and contracting decisions. Last time I checked, it doesn't come off. You're damn right I voted for it. Yes. Yes on Proposition 16. Moving forward, let's see what we have here. Proposition 17. Restores right to vote after completion of prison term. Yes, I voted yes on that. They did the crime. They did the time. They should have their rights restored, okay? Very simple. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. All right, so next one up, Proposition 18. Amends California Constitution to permit 17-year-olds to vote in primary and special elections if they will turn 18 by the next general election. I voted yes. We need to have our young people inclusive in the voting process. Matters that affect their lives. I think it should be even retracted back further. I think 16. I know the minorities, black people, brown people, really make up the predominant population of minors or young people Therefore, the powers that be, you know who they are trying to limit our power. Moving on to the next one, Proposition 20. Proposition 20 states, restricts parole for certain offenses currently considered to be non-violent, authorizes felony sentences for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. What? Come on, man. All right. Off the bat right there. I voted no. No. You're gonna, once again, let me read this again, okay? This is what threw me off. I don't have a record. However, it's about my people and the community at large. Let me read this again. Authorizes felony sentences for certain offenses currently treated only as misdemeanors. Please, people, why in the heck would you want to vote yes on that? I voted no. Oh, let me just verify this right quick. Can y'all see that? No. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, now we're getting serious now, all right? Proposition 21 expands local government's authority to enact rent control on residential property. What? What do you think? Seriously, it's getting expensive out here, especially in California. I voted yes. Rent control. I don't want to hear it. Comment down below if you do agree, you don't agree. I got to hear your viewpoint on this, people. But for me, it's yes on Proposition 21, rent control. Proposition 23, it says, it establishes state requirements for kidney dialysis clinics, requires an on-site medical professional. I know a lot of people that do, including relatives. I believe that this must be regulated. I believe this really protects the patient and the business. I know there will be a limitation on locations that one can go to seek treatment. But I'm thinking in the event of a tragedy, of a liability claim, you want to make sure those who gave this type of treatment can be held accountable. All right, the next one, I have Proposition 24. Proposition 24 permits consumers to prevent businesses from sharing personal information, correct inaccurate personal information, and limit businesses' use of sensitive personal information, including precise geolocation, race, ethnicity, and health information. Wow, this is crazy. This is another one. Yes. Why would you want businesses to have your personal information? It's not about just simply information. That is sensitive within itself. But what are they using it for? It could be a number of things. For example, something as innocent as advertisement. I don't want, look, my wife and I, we experience it all the time. We watch these cartoons, we watch the internet, YouTube, Nick Jr., so on and so forth. And these advertisements are out of control. I really believe they target and use that information to bait, to groom these immoral behaviors in our young children. But moving on forward, tell me what you think. We got a lot of stuff to go and cover. Proposition 25. All right, this is the big boy here, okay? Proposition 25. Referendum on law that replaces money bail with system based on public safety and flight risk. Proposition 25. Basically, this proposal, while it is not perfect, wants to remove the money bail system, but put it on the judge's discretion on whether or not this individual is a risk to public safety. Now, this is not the best system because they can become discriminatory even at that level. However, I think the great part about this option, we can now have an explanation for why, and we can definitely pinpoint discrimination on the judge and then move forward with a better option. This is not the best option, but it's better than the option before. So once again, Proposition 25, I voted yes. Now, let's get into the president. So we have President Trump and former Vice President Biden. Let me get back. Like I said, I decided my vote based upon their body of work, not about their campaign and promises they're making, but on what they've already done in the past. Let's start with President Trump. Under the Nixon administration, oh, the irony there, in October 1973, the Justice Department filed a civil rights case that stated that Trump, or the Trump firm, violated the Fair Housing Act of 1968. A little bit about the Fair Housing Act of 1978. It prohibited the discrimination regarding the sale, rental, and financing of housing based on race, religion, national origin, or sex. The Trump firm had over 14,000 housing complexes. I don't know how many he has now, but that's a lot. And for you to be sued, that's after research, after investigation, for civil rights violations, that says a lot. A settlement was reached, and he agreed not to admit to discrimination. In the 1980s, Kip Brown, a former employee at Trump's Castle, the casino and resort in Atlantic City, he stated, and I quote, "When Donald came to the casino, his bosses, or staff, but he said bosses, would order all the black people off the floor." This is in the 1980s. Kip Brown, a former employee at Trump's Casino and Resort in Atlantic City. Also, the Central Park Five, 1989, 5 young men were accused of attacking and raping a white woman. Trump, of course, jumped on that, asking for the death penalty and calling for more aggressive policing. Later, the Central Park Five, as you know, were found not guilty through conclusive DNA evidence. And as recent as October 2016, Trump said that he still believes they are guilty. It's racism, plain and simple. In a book called Trump by John O'Donnell, who was a former president of Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, he quoted Trump's criticism of an African-American accountant. And I quote, "Black guys counting my money, I hate it. The only kind of people I want counting my money are short guys that wear yarmulkes every day. I think that guy is lazy," talking about the black accountant. "And it's probably not his fault, because laziness is a trait in blacks. It really is. I believe that. It's not anything they can control." In 1997, in a Playboy interview, Trump said, "The stuff O'Donnell," the author of that book in 1991, which I just quoted, called Trump said, "The stuff O'Donnell wrote about me is probably true." He said that in 1997 in a Playboy interview. All right, so we all know about his more recent works, what he said during his presidency, the last 4 years. I'm going on body of work. I'm going on things you may not know about as much. I don't go by on their campaign about the Platinum Plan and all these cameos with Lil Wayne and all these other, people. It's really crazy. So let's go on to Biden. I'm not letting Biden off the hook. I'm not going to go too much on Biden. I'm going to bring up 2 major things. Of course, the 1994 crime bill, him calling black people super predators. The 1994 crime bill erected thousands of prisons, funding for policing. It was out of control. Kamala Harris, of course, in California, she put African Americans, kept them in prison past their sentences. But there's one thing I'm going to bring up on Biden. The 1970s, Joe Biden initially was for, so to speak, for desegregation. He actually was for the South having desegregation because, you know what? He said that their roots were founded on racism. But he said for the North, he believed that blacks had the choice to live where they wanted in the North. Don't get me started on that. But he flipped. And this is the reason why I had hesitation to vote for Joe Biden. In 1974, at a Newcastle County Neighborhood School Association meeting, his constituents were pissed off about his stance on desegregation. They weren't for it. They didn't want that at all. It was at that moment they booed him and he flipped. I'm going off body of work. I believe everybody has the opportunity to rectify their wrongdoings, to change, to evolve, yes. However, 47 years is a lot to overcome. However, when you look at Trump and what he's done in the last 4 years, much less what he's already proven to be, he was sued by under the Nixon administration for discrimination. So that brings me to Tuesday, November 3rd, that morning of. I had to vote. I said I voted. It's my duty as an American citizen, right? And I'm going to reveal how I voted on the presidential ballot. Matter of fact, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to show you. All right, a lot of people are going to hate me. Let me take my hat off. Give me some water. Man. But I'm going to stick to it. This is how I voted. What you thought? This is your boy, CitizenEdge. And I'm out.